Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, and the Kansas City Chiefs are back to the good old days, the days when they roared out to big leads and coasted to victory, and the only fly in the ointment was the fact that they didn't keep the pedal down for the entire game. Another, pretty much ho-hum victory for the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's good news. 5 in a row. The defense has been excellent. They've been giving up just about 10 points a game. The quality of the offensive opposition can be questioned, but so what? That's the teams you have to play. That's the teams you have to shut down. And the Kansas City Chiefs are flowing with confidence on both sides of the ball. Certainly, Patrick Mahomes looks healthy, and the cast and crew on the offense looks electric, and he's making some big, difficult plays when they need them. More on that with Stan and breaking down their amazing proclivity in being able to convert bad down and distance situations. All that in a potentially frenetic and high-scoring college football playoff is in the mix with Stan Weber. As usual, his great analysis comes your way next as we're talking football on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend on the Reasonably Irreverent Commentary right here at DannyClinkscale.com. We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
There's no need to get a case of the Mondays every week, not during football season anyway. Hey, this is Matt Llewellyn from the 23rd Street Brewery, and we are the place for Monday Night Football. Food and drink specials every week, and all new televisions always at 23rd Street Brewery. The hardest thing about Mondays now will be getting through the workday, although waking up on Tuesdays might be a little bit tough. But remember, watch all the Chiefs games, NFL games, every game at the 23rd Street Brewery.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Stan, the Open, I called it a ho-hum victory for the Chiefs, and we didn't have those for a while. We opened the season, oftentimes last year. They were victories where Kansas City would roar out to a big lead, and the game was kind of over early, and now we're back to that again, particularly the last two times out, as they've made the games almost irrelevant by halftime in both cases. That's a nice position to be in when you're a football team.
It really is. Workmanlike effort on the road against a team that's very good on defense. I don't think you could ever take it for granted that the Bears could have caused some problems, and the Chiefs are so good that the game turned on one play, one minor mistake by the Bears trying to run a reverse. They drop the ball, have a negative play, and they cannot overcome it. And what a compliment to the Chiefs. You say, oh, you had your opportunity. You had the ball first. The Bears were driving. Trubinsky was running, which I think was a big key for them to have any chance. He had to really run the football, and there was a chance that they could get down, kick a field goal, maybe score a touchdown and set the tone that this is going to be a battle and put the pressure on a Chiefs offense with their good defense, but it never happened. They couldn't overcome that play, and then the Chiefs just said, we are so much better on defense than you are on offense. We're going to squeeze you. And then Patrick Mahomes put on a show, and I had a lot of fun watching the game because I rarely watch a game with a number of people. Normally it's me, myself, and I or something like that. And here I had a big group of people over. We were engaged. They're watching the game, but many of them not football junkies at all, like the Chiefs, watch a game, not experts. And the oohing and awing, the understanding of what they're seeing when Patrick Mahomes was in trouble and completed a pass. Or it's 3rd and 18, and the Chiefs make it look easy. Here's Tyreek Hill over the middle. What are you going to do, Bears? And it was so much fun because I have this great appreciation for that. But the Chiefs were converting 3rd and 10s and longer, which just don't happen in the NFL. There was one time after a penalty, the Chiefs were 2nd and 28. And I kind of joked that there's about a 50-50 shot that Chiefs are going to make a first down. With most teams, it's about a 1% chance that they can make something happen. Sure enough, the Chiefs got the first down, but it was a great indication because they
You read my Twitter feed, I guess. I said 50-50 on Twitter.
Did you?
Right on the 2nd and 28.
I sometimes think alike on some of these things.
Because I did the pregame show for the Chiefs on WHB yesterday, and I'll get into the numbers in a minute, but it's one of the most marvelous things about Patrick Mahomes in this offense that you've talked about it often. Sacks kill drives. They don't kill drives for the Chiefs. Penalties and sacks do not kill their drives necessarily.
And it's unbelievable if you know the numbers, the analytics guys, and those kind of things. But I love that people who had no feel for any of that analytics were going, oh, man. And they kept saying, how would you like to be a Bears defender? How demoralizing would it be? And they were just right on target, just general comments, but no one had anything other than to agree. When anybody said something that was a compliment to Patrick Mahomes, is like, oh man, can you believe that? How did he get out of that? That was an amazing throw. He didn't even look. So it was great football on that front. And then they put so much pressure on the Bears. The Bears make a dumb play. One of the stupidest plays ever is to run into the punter when you're behind 10-0, and It's a pooch punt. Okay, ball game. When you give the Chiefs a free first down there, they're going to go score, and you're out of the game if it's a touchdown. 17-0, zero chance the Bears are coming back. 10-0, still being outplayed, not the better team, but all you need is one break, one scoop of a fumble, and momentum can get on your side, and the Bears would have had a chance. They run into the punter, game over. Hey, that's a compliment to the Chiefs. That when he bumped the punter, I go, ball game. Right. And the Chiefs deliver on it. So there's just no room for error for teams like the Chicago Bears, and that's a heck of a compliment because they were a Super Bowl level team probably last year. If you went through and really dissected where they were, Trubinsky was playing, running the ball better. The team was running the ball consistently, great on defense. So we've said this over and over. There is a formula for beating the Chiefs, but the thing that I kept saying, Danny, that I want people to understand is that formula is just taking your chances from almost zero to limited. Doesn't mean the Chiefs are going to get beat by people. It's just there's a chance. You have a greater chance if you run the football as much as you pass it, those kind of things. The Ravens can execute it. The Titans can execute it. There are teams out there that actually can get this done. The Texans might be able to with Deshaun Watson. Doesn't mean you're going to beat the Chiefs, but there is a methodology, and they are just squeezing that percentage down more and more because they're playing well across the team, and the defense is one step ahead of everybody right now. They're doing things that just don't match with the probabilities. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu is in positions and ends up in another place that he shouldn't be. You start counting the 11 up, and as Peyton Manning is so good at saying, I know what you're going to be in. I'd love to see Peyton Manning audibleizing. He's going to be saying Omaha, Omaha with about a half second left on the clock if he figured it out, because they are staying in positions at the snap of the ball and running other places, which is a high-risk defense. But right now they believe in themselves. The quarterbacks are so indecisive of trying to figure it out that even when they have an open guy, they go, well, he's only open if Matthew isn't robbing that area, so I better double-check too late. Right. The pass rush is there, and you and I haven't had a chance to talk yet since they signed Terrell Suggs, but it's a big-time signing. Big time athletically, what he can get done, but even more to talk to the Chiefs about what championship level football is about. And I'm just talking about defensive football. They think they're playing well. When a guy walks in who's been a Baltimore Raven and just kind of chuckles and goes, you guys are doing a nice job, but do you realize there's a whole nother level? Like, what? Yeah, what you're doing is kind of average. Here's what you ought to expect of yourselves. That kind of goal and expectation in your locker room is so valuable that should even add to the defense playing better.
this is just an amazing stat. The Chiefs have faced third or fourth and 18 or more 10 times this year, and they've converted a first down half of those times. Patrick Mahomes on those 10 plays is 9 for 10 for 220 yards and the 5 first downs that they've converted. To me, the difference in his ability to do this and the Chiefs' ability to do this is they don't make a play 8 or 10 yards down the field and hope the guy runs for a first down. They throw it all the way to where the first down is. Some guys just can't make that throw. That seems to be the key to me to the fact that, I mean, it looks like when you're watching the play, you're like, oh, that's about a 12-yard play. And no, they've already got the first down when he catches it.
It's amazing what he can do, but it's also a credit to the design. You and I can go back to our old days, and people don't necessarily like to hear about it, but there are a few that do, so we'll talk about that for a second. Hey, Roger Staubach, his completion percentage wasn't Drew Brees, like. He didn't complete an inordinate amount of passes, but he got the ball downfield. And the thing that he did as well as anybody in history is if it was 3rd and 18, he delivered the ball 18 yards downfield. If it's 3rd and 12, it was 12 yards down the field. There was an awareness of what was going on, what needed to be done by everybody on the team, including the receivers, but the coach was willing to call the plays that way. And let's hand it to Andy Reid. Most of these coaches have their design. Hey, I got this West Coast offense, or I got whatever. And they don't really design the plays any differently because, Danny, I'll be the first to tell you and stick up for the coach and say, he's got one guy deep, one guy middle, one guy short. You hit all the zones. It's just a matter of who's open. You take what they give you. No, the Chiefs go get what they need. One of the most famous plays I've seen of the Dallas Cowboys, just back to the Tom Landry days, is he ran a post pattern with the outside guy, and the safety is right there waiting for him. But he ran a post pattern with an inside guy who was just only 5 yards underneath him, mirroring him so that the top guy blocked the angle, so the ball was thrown over the middle, right to the first down marker. The safety saw it, but as he's coming forward, there's a natural pick because there's a guy in his face, and he couldn't get to it. And the ball will be rifled, 3 yards off the ground. The Cowboys catch it, and you and I are sitting there going, wow, I don't know how the Cowboys do it. I like how they play. Well, I got older and studied it, and I go, that play was designed. They knew what they were going after, and the Chiefs know what they're going after. And then let's say Tyreek Hill gives you such an advantage.
Right.
Because in blank point seconds, you have in the pocket whatever you want to say, Danny. If you go, I got 3.1, no, I got 3.9. They study this stuff. Guess what? Tyreek Hill can get 18 yards when other guys are only getting 15 yards or 14. So the best example was there was no doubt in his mind that he's going to get the ball to Tyreek, stick it on him, and I bet no defender is going to be able to get there that quick. But Andy Reid's willing to design the plays. There's spatial awareness. The offensive line, we can bag on them if you want and say, well, they're beat up, they don't play as well, they're not as dominant. But, Danny, when they break the huddle, they know we're getting 18 yards. And that's where a quarterback can say, back in the old days, he'd say, guys, give me a little bit of time. Len Dawson would say, just give me a little bit of time, guys. Maybe they don't even have to do that nowadays. But when they break the huddle, they're not just generically going up to the line. They're going, we're going to 18 yards. We got to block just a little bit longer, take a different angle. All these little subtleties to say, if he beats me, he's going to have to beat me around the corner, and he might get to Patrick. And we may take a 10-yard sack. But guess what? We're going to punt anyway. So I'm going to make sure that he gets him only going around. So if he spins and tries to cut under, guess what? I'll block him strong, and Patrick's going to have time. I mean, the Chiefs are smart. There are all kinds of knowledge going around there. And, that's the difference between the Chiefs and a lot of other teams. Patrick's good. Tyreek's unbelievable. Kelsey's always in the middle of the field. It's easy to get 18 yards right down the middle, Danny. Throwing to the outside is harder to get 18 yards. So the Chiefs can attack right down the middle, inside the seams and the hash marks. You can do it with Hill. You can do it with Kelsey. Big advantages. But I just think the coaching is unbelievable, and that is a heck of a credit to Andy Reid. But then it just teaches us, if I can talk about these intricacies, and sorry, this is kind of fun, Danny, talking about. I mean, there's stuff going on that you just can't even imagine, right? We don't get a chance to talk about this stuff very often. Belichick's got a whole nother level. I mean, they do. There's another layer on top of Andy Reid that Belichick's teaching his guys, and that's what makes them hard to beat. They know on every down and every situation where the risks are, where the problems will be. They play to stay away from those, and good things pop and happen, and then you start believing they're going to. But the Chiefs are really setting themselves up well. We had a great conversation last week on this podcast about how many teams can make the Super Bowl, how close it is this year. And I agree. Still stay what I said last week. Man, there are a lot of teams that can make the Super Bowl. But then you start looking around and say, who's the best of the group? And that is hard to determine. But there's no reason why you can't start writing in kind of in pencil at least and get your pen ready for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their road to the Super Bowl is going to make it hard right now that since New England beat Buffalo. But just flat-out play. Overall, coaching, quarterback, play, there's no back seat the Chiefs need to take to any team in the NFL right now.
It's hard to peak and plan on peaking. The Ravens, you can still say they're peaking because they still are playing great football, but maybe not quite as good as before. They keep winning every single game. But I want to ask you about the Patriots. They looked a hell of a lot better on Saturday. Is that anything that they can reproduce? Did you sense that they found a little something on offense, or was this just a day?
No, I think it's exactly the same. But I remember last week when I was going, you kind of bounced up real quick with a comment like you need to do for me and say, you included the Patriots in as those Super Bowl champion prospects. And I said, yes, absolutely. So I think they just met my expectation. That was a hard win. I mean, said last week on this podcast, Buffalo's a better team right now. It's not too big for them. They can play on a primetime stage, so they've evened the game up. Didn't mean they're going to win. Still would have picked the Patriots, but they had a chance. And go watch the game. They had a chance.
Absolutely.
And they only made it, they really did it on a couple of spectacular plays, not with consistent play. And the Bills have a little bit more consistency they could have laid on them. So the Patriots had to do everything right. And they did. But to ask them to do everything right, they kind of are playing with their hands tied behind their back, one of them. And sometimes it looks like Brady's right hand's tied behind his back, and then it's too hard. But if it's only his left hand tied behind his back, he still finds a way to make it happen. So I just think they're very dangerous. And until they get beaten, they are going to be hard to beat. They're going to put each of these teams in a bind, the best bind that they can. What's great about the Chiefs is they have less capability of binding them up. Because, again, back to the intricacies, Belichick can make the Buffalo Bills football field about 15 yards downfield. Guess what? When he moved in the pocket and threw the ball deep a couple of times, what did it end up being? Touchdown.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Belichick played the odds and said there's about a 1% chance that he's going to get away from our rush, that the receiver's actually going to be on a deep route, that he'll find the right guy, deliver the ball accurately, and still I think my guy might get there to knock it away. Each time didn't get there quite in time. Buffalo has 2 big touchdowns.
And
against
one
the
of them,
Chiefs,
Allen just made an unconscious throw with a guy in his face,
right.
And
so,
he's got arm strength, the almost equivalent of Mahomes.
Right. So the Bills beat him, and Belichick would have to just shake his head and go, that's fine. But what he was able to do to stuff them all day is he is playing the game from inside of 20 yards past the line of scrimmage, probably 15 all day long. So there were Patriots everywhere when Buffalo was trying to run their basic stuff, run plays, pass plays. They had to do that low percentage touchdown to get it done. They did it twice. That is not the equation with the Chiefs. When Belichick starts drawing up the field, he does not stop at 15 or 20 yards.
Right.
And suddenly his 11 defenders are stretched to the max. So the good news is he has no answer for what the Chiefs do. We've proven that now over 3 years. Even without Patrick Mahomes back there, with Tyreek in the game, you can stress the New England defense. So the Chiefs are the best matchup against the Patriots of any team unless the Ravens are hitting on all cylinders. When they had things going and Lamar Jackson was free to the outside, but when they play again next time, if they do, he's going to make it a little different on Lamar. So we're going to see if the Ravens can do that. The Patriots are very dangerous. I think they're going to match up well with anybody. It's going to be close. They can beat anybody. They possibly can lose this year, but the Chiefs are the team that they least want to see if you're a Patriot. Not fans. Forget the fans. It's Bill Belichick and the team, and the Chiefs are the hardest team for them to stop.
And I think it was a final thing in this segment. I think it was personified by the fact that the Bears made a lot of good defensive plays in that game. They put the Chiefs in a lot of bad positions, but it almost seems like 3 downs is too many. The Chiefs got to go play in the Canadian Football League if you're going to stop them. I mean, because it just seems like 3 downs is not fair when it comes to the Chiefs.
I know. It's unbelievably
stop
fun
them
to
once,
watch.
you stop them twice, it's 3rd and 13,
well,
so what?
And the other thing is that Chris Collinsworth, great announcing crew, in this day and age where there's a lot of averageness, by the way. And I'm not down on Dan Fouts. I think that crew's fine. We've had him a lot. But when you look at all over broadcasting everywhere, these guys are good. And he is legitimately saying the Chiefs are running the ball to practice. I mean, he said that on the air. The Chiefs are dabbling in the run game because they know when it gets cold and they get into the playoffs, you got to have that part of your game working. And also, just even if you don't gain a yard, you got to practice it. Let's stick it in there and see. That's how they turned it into Canadian football. I mean, they'd run the ball for 0, and you kind of laugh. And I was with all these people who don't know football that well. And they're like, why do they run? I mean, why do they run for 2? Why don't they just throw it every down? I go, they can throw it every down. They really can.
Right.
But why not try to see if you have a little bit of balance? And, LaShawn McCoy's sitting over there resting. Why? Because it's a master plan of that guy may unleash in the playoffs. He may give you 100 yards in a game and just play his best. And it may not happen, but that's what Andy Reid's trying to – you talk about peaking at the right time. They want him to be healthy for the playoffs. And otherwise, let's see if we can run the ball. But you're right. The Bears, a very good defense, at home, on grass. Not a super cold night, but still plenty of opportunity for the defense to slow the Chiefs down. Some negative yardage plays, some penalties. Just they had their opportunities, and yet the Chiefs needed only 2 downs. Even if we run, okay, we gain 0. Okay, 2 downs. It's an easy first down. No, it was so predictable, under control. We talk about golf sometimes because I think about golf when I'm with you, and a guy can crank a 380-yard drive, but the pro can say, I'm only going to hit it 350. And it'll be right in the middle. I mean, right in the middle. This isn't even risky. My shot's going to be so under control. It's a safe shot. The Chiefs are playing that way right now. Just not doing anything outrageous, not looking to bomb the ball all the time. Patrick Mahomes is stepping into the pocket more. Did you see him quoted and talking about exactly what we said about I need to keep from fading back in the pocket?
Right.
I almost texted you, Danny, and said, hey, did you go listen to the podcast when we were talking
about
stepping up in the pocket? But he's cleaned that up. He's stepping up in the pocket more, and they're doing a great job. The defense is playing at a high level. Suggs really adds some things, and now you start looking around and say, where's the Chiefs' defensive weakness? And we said it's linebackers earlier, but they've been changing things up.
More defensive backs.
Yeah, and they also have put Reggie Ragland in. And I think the Chiefs' defense needed Reggie Ragland to stop the run. Now they're doing enough things around him. The guys are moving quick enough and locking down that they can play Reggie Ragland more, and that cleans up a lot of the run. Because I've always said Hitchens will play very well and do his thing, but he's not going to dominate. He's just there to do he's a big-time pro. Tries, shows up, tackles people, but he tackles them where they're supposed to be tackled. 1-yard gain, got him. 7-yard gain, got him. 15 yards, I'll go run him down. But he ain't going to stuff people in the backfield. Reggie Ragland can blow someone up at the line of scrimmage. Chris Jones blows some people up. Now Hitchens is playing at a higher level because there's not as much pressure on him to make super plays. And that's why he was good at Dallas, by the way. He wasn't there to make the superstar plays. He was there to be the pro who didn't mess up, didn't miss tackles. So now we're seeing the best of Hitchens. The Chiefs are falling into form. They're believing in what they're doing, and the defense doesn't look like it's going to be a big issue going into the playoffs. I don't know if it's being hot, getting used to Spagnuolo, what they've done, but the Chiefs have made some great decisions midway through the year when they were being run on. They put Ragland in. They started bringing people in the box, putting pressure on their corners and saying we may lose the game out there, but we aren't going to lose the game running, and all those decisions have worked well.
Let's talk some college football coming up next. We've got it coming back. We talked about peaking. Pretty impossible for a college football team playing for the highest of stakes to peak when they don't play for a month afterwards. It's the downside of the way the structure is, but still, it should be very exciting football. We'll talk about the college football playoff coming up this weekend with Stan coming up next on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for reasonably irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews, and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code ClinkScale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Are you thinking of starting a new business? Does your current business feel stuck? Or are you just trying to grow what you already have? Running a business is a lot of work, and it takes the right team to make it all happen. If you're looking to grow your business, call my friends Ben and Greg over at Fuego Consulting. They put together a company that can help you reach your business goals. Whether you're looking to get online, build a social media strategy, or rebrand your business, they can help. Call Fuego at 816-663-9695 or visit them online at fuegoconsulting.com. Fuego Consulting. Let's grow your business together. I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob. Be next. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Stan, as we broadcast and do this podcast, we're actually watching college football, so it's a good sidebar. We can pay a little attention to a crazy game between Marshall and Central Florida. But
it must be Monday when we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got, but Saturday we've got the big doubleheader as the national semifinals will be played. Looks for all the world like we're going to see a lot of electricity, a lot of points. The teams have real high-level wide receivers. I think we're going to see a lot of modern football on Saturday offensively, it would seem. It would be probably an upset if we see some games, either of these games may be played in the 20s.
I think so. I mean, really good college teams have offenses that score into the 30s, and even though they're good teams, they don't necessarily have the defenses that match. You know, the one that we'll be watching most closely around here, I think, is can the Big 12 compete in a year where it looks like there's 3 teams, and the Pac-12 and Big 12 didn't have teams that could match up to this level. But Oklahoma becomes the representative. Could have been Utah. Might have been Baylor. Definitely now could have been Oregon since they won the Pac-12. I'll get on my high horse again and say every team that won a conference championship should be in this tournament one way or the other. Make it a 5-team or 6-team, but let them in there. But it's Oklahoma that represents all the others. There's parity in college football, big time. We started the year talking about parity with the FCS schools being able to compete with the FBS schools. It was a theme during the non-conference. Well, does this theme carry to this point of the year? This is the example. Can Oklahoma play at the level of LSU? Very exciting to see. There's a chance, because these games have turned out into blowouts and those kind of things, there's a chance that LSU is just too good for Oklahoma. But I think Oklahoma has a chance. They've got to be able to run the football. They have run the ball a lot more than people think, but that's something that LSU struggled with against the Mississippi game, for instance. Quarterback run. They're going to be ganging up on Jalen Hurts and all that. But if Oklahoma can run the football, change the dynamics a little bit, and make it seem like they want to play 27-24 game rather than 37-34, they really don't. But if they can make it seem that way, put a little pressure on LSU. It's hard when you're the Heisman Trophy winner, Danny, when you've been traveling all over the place. You talked about, how can you take a big break and stay focused? Well, that's hard. It's even harder when you're moving around and signing autographs and just doing everything but your normal routine. Everyone says, well, he's a good kid, Burrow's going to be fine, but it's hard to get off of the celebration bandwagon and get back to football. And if Oklahoma can cause him a little havoc, put some question in LSU's mind, I really don't think LSU is going to respect Oklahoma. Not because they're bad kids, but that's kind of you're SEC. You're number one. It's good. If you jump on them, that's a great attitude to have. You can crush Oklahoma by saying, you're not in our league. Here we go. But if Oklahoma can get toward halftime and be right in the game, then I think that changes the dynamics. LSU fans will put a lot of pressure on them that this shouldn't be close. And if Oklahoma can stay close, Oklahoma playing as an underdog, how does that happen? But they're going to enjoy the fruits of this. And last year they played against Alabama and got overwhelmed the first quarter, but then calmed down and actually outplayed Alabama the last three quarters, but they were too far behind.
Right.
Can they learn from that? Can they get going right away? And in the other game, who knows who the best team in the country is? We just have not seen Clemson get pushed all year. I haven't been impressed the way Trevor Lawrence has played, but he hasn't had to pay for it. And he's a winner. Maybe he'll up his game. I think he's the biggest variable on the field because if he plays like he did last year as a freshman for Clemson, then they elevate themselves to being the best team. If he doesn't, then I think Ohio State would be the better team. Probably I'd call that a toss-up just because it's hard for me to say how do they match up. I don't think Ohio State was really pressed much this whole season. They have such a significant advantage over Michigan, Wisconsin. Who did they play that put them under pressure? I didn't really see it this year, and it's just that Ohio State's a lot better than the rest of the Big Ten, and Clemson's so much better than the rest of the ACC. It's really the first time to see how do these boys get after an even team. And so that to me, that's a toss-up, and I think Oklahoma could cause LSU more problems than people think by playing the underdog role and running the football.
Oklahoma also suspended 3 players, and 2 of them are pretty significant, so that doesn't help the cause either. But just talk about, from a football standpoint, a football player standpoint, your season basically ends. And, yeah, you're practicing, but I don't think they can practice. I don't think they practice all the days. They take some time off. And so you're not going to have played football, a physical game, for almost a month. What do you think that's like for the body, mind, psyche of a team? Yes, they're going to be engaged because they're playing for a national championship, but still, that's a long layoff.
Yes, and they're lucky they're playing before January 1st because every day is helpful to get going. Some coaches are really good at this, and Terry Donahue is an old UCLA coach that got into almost a perfect rhythm. They just went and won their bowl games. So I think it's important to look at how teams do in bowl games under a certain coach and say, do they have a system in place? Because the hardest thing to do is to decide when you're going to create the physicality that keeps them on edge. It's at the end of the year, Danny, what happens is your body is in shape, but it's not in football shape. You've heard that one stated.
Right.
And it's usually the physicality. Okay? I think I've told you this before. You go out, you're a quarterback, you don't get hit. But still, you run into a running back accidentally, you hits your arm, all this stuff. And you look down the next day and you're going, where did that big purple bruise come from? Are you kidding me? And all the team is feeling it. It's like everything is sore and your body's reacting like boy, there's no way I'm lasting the whole season. And then like a suit of armor comes over you. I do not understand the physics of all of this, okay? But then a suit of armor comes around, and you just don't even get bruised. You play game after game after game, and your body just you're a little sore. You want to stretch. Oh, my elbow got hit. Yeah, but the bruising kind of ends, and you're into a rhythm. This is what, when you lay off, you got to not allow them to get refreshed so much that the bruises start happening again. So you've got to hit. When do you do it? Do you actually play your first string against your second string? Do you scrimmage for 10 plays? Do you do it for 20 plays? Do you just create some physicality without scrimmaging each other? All of these things are hard choices, and none of them are natural. None of them are. So it is really hard to know, am I ready? Because your body is so fresh, but you're not in the rhythm. The good thing for these teams nowadays, different than the old days, is they basically are passing the football.
Right.
And the 7-on-7 component of it can be replicated throughout the whole month of layoff. So in the passing game, the receivers and the quarterbacks are getting good looks. They really are getting a good feel. But for the linemen, the linebackers, the running backs, how do you get them ready to play? And it's hit and miss. I mean, I think every team just tries to not think about it, but the brilliant coaches have a rhythm, and I have not heard him speak. I've not heard Terry Donahue talk about how he gets his team ready, what the rhythm was. I've never talked to a UCLA player. I'd like to see if there's a little magic compared to what I've seen before. But the coaches, they leave for a week and go recruit and say, see you later. I mean, you're getting ready for the biggest game of the year, and the coaches are gone. Oh, finals week. That's not normal. I mean, one time in football season, you get beat up with tests, and then you're supposed to, go work out and run and lift. But, Coach, I want to play football. No, the coaches are gone, so what we need you to do is go to the weight and conditioning staff and let them take over like they do in the summer. You're like, nah, this doesn't feel right. You watch too much tape. I mean, you know everything about the opponent, and you know too much. So then if they run a trick play and bait you into something, who runs the trick plays? So to me, it's a complete wild card, and it's been that way. Let's just say this. Here's a pet peeve of mine. The College Football Playoff Committee says they've evaluated these teams, and that we're supposed – and I love Mr. Hancock, you know that, but no one can tell us who the best teams are, Danny. It's impossible. And here's my proof. They want to tell us who number 4 and number 5 is, and we should feel very comfortable that Oregon's not in it right now, or Georgia. Just very comfortable, because they studied this, and they evaluated. Except for every year of the college football playoff, the team they rank number 1, if they rank them number 1, that means they think they're better than 2. Just like if 4 is better than 5, 1 should be better than 2, and number 1's never won the tournament. Ever. So they did not pick the right team. They say they picked the right 4. No, they need more pressure. It needs to be more public saying, you better be rooting for your number 1 team to win, because that's the only way we believe 4 and 5 can be distinguished. My point is, it's been a wild card. Think of Ezekiel Elliott and Ohio State. They shouldn't even have been in the first college football playoff. It should have been Baylor or TCU, and Ohio State just went out and romped. We've seen Clemson romp Ohio State. So we saw Notre Dame get crushed. Now, most people don't count that because last year they didn't think Notre Dame was worthy of being in the playoff. But my point is that I cannot give you the kind of opinion that I have any confidence in how they're going to play out. It is a wide spectrum. If there's 100 different possibilities about how the game plays out, usually I'll give you, hey, Danny, I can give you the 10 most likely. Right now I'm saying all 100 are in play. Who knows how they react to this time off. And the highest level of competition that most of them have played, not just because it's the top 4, because I just don't think Clemson has been tested all year. So let's go see what they got against the best opponents.
Stan, it's always great stuff. As we sit here and watch football, we're ready for the football feast that is about to come with all these bowl games with nobody in the stands. But there'll be a lot of people in the stands on Saturday for the college football playoff.
I call it Happy Days football. It's great television production.
There you go.
Put the laugh track on. Put the cheer track on. These are made for television, Danny, and we are watching television. So I don't care if there's anybody watching the game or not.
That's right. So Stan Weber's Insights on Football each week on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend at the Reasonably Irreverent Podcast at DannyKlinkskill.com.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klinkskill Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klinkskill Reasonably Irreverent Podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.